Did you know Super Awesome Mix has an app? Go to the Apple App Store today and download Super Awesome Mix. It's free. You could start creating and sending your own digital mixtapes in just a few clicks. Also, there's links to our Instagram account and a link where you can follow your favorite podcast. Speaking of which, welcome back to another Super Awesome Mix. My name is Matt Sidholm, alongside my co-host and co-founder of Super Awesome Mix, Samer Abu Salbi. Samer, how we doing this week?
I am doing well, although, I'm in need of some motivation, to be honest. It has been a while since January 1st rolled around, and I'm in that summer slump where I'm just finding I don't want to do just about anything.
Well, we all know it's well documented how much you hate the heat and the summer. And, like
Yes.
everyone out there, like January rolls around, we did a motivation mix at the start of the year to just get everyone on the right track for 2022. But at the time, we did promise, we were like, hey, we're going to come back mid-year and get everyone to the finish line. So this is it. This is our mid-year motivation mix.
Yeah, I was really excited to put this one together. And what came to mind too was like Weezer's doing that 4-part seasons album mix this year, where
Yeah,
the
yeah.
start of every season they're gonna release another EP. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe that could be our thing. Like every 6 months or so, we're gonna do another motivation mix and get people rolling. We also had an
Yeah.
unofficial entrant with the workout mix, which is kind of the midway point between our first one and this one. So we kind of decided, yeah, like, a lot of people set fitness goals January 1st. I certainly do. So we wanted to make a really good workout mix, and we had a lot of fun with that one too. So, we're building up the volume of music to get you going, get you amped up, get you pumped up, fired up. All the ups are available here on the Super Awesome Mix.
Oh, yeah. Whatever kind of up you're looking for, it's available here. Super Awesome Mix. That's right.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's get motivated. Let's get fired up.
Yeah, I was especially excited because it seemed like we both took like slightly different routes, and so I think like this will be really nice for a lot of people. So I'm gonna kick us off with your first pick, and it is "Immigrant Song" by Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, this song, I mean, I think everyone knows this song. Probably not by title. Again, this is another one of those mixes we've kind of talked about but never done, but songs where people don't know the actual title to this one. But once this one
Right.
starts, like you'll know it. And it was used perfectly. I think we referenced this on the show a couple weeks ago in Thor Ragnarok, when Thor re-enters the battle. So if you're a big Marvel music fan, I mean that's a big moment and pretty awesome in that. But even if you don't have that backdrop, I mean, just listen to the guitar here and just get yourself fired up. So yeah, I mean it's a classic. Everybody knows this one, and this one, whether you're just trying to get out of bed in the morning or wondering if you're gonna kind of finish that workout strong, like whatever it is that you're doing, whatever that little bit extra that you need, I feel like this song is there for you.
Yeah, this is one of those ones like songs that I love that, like you said, I never really followed the title, and I certainly never really understood or honestly cared about the lyrics because I was just so into the rock, of this song and the rock sound and just how motivating and awesome it is. And all these years later, like it's just one of those ones that yeah, it amps you up and you turn it up and you just marvel at the guitar player of this one. So I absolutely love this track, and we should put together that mix of songs that people might not know the title of, or they think the title is something different. We've talked about it enough. I think it's time.
Yeah, definitely. Popular songs people don't know the title to. So that's coming soon. Yeah, for sure. All right, now your first pick, and my first note on this, by the way, before I even introduce the song, is I said she's kind of becoming your Bruce Springsteen because she keeps showing up. Okay, but it's "Free" by Florence and the Machine.
That's so exciting because I felt at the beginning of our podcast, like, now well over a year ago, that you had like a signature band that was always making an appearance.
Hmm.
And I was like, I felt a little left out. And this is just kind of naturally, this is naturally happening. I'm not even forcing this, but you're right. I do love Florence and the Machine, and I'm especially in love with their most recent album. Dance Fever, because I just keep putting the songs from her album on these mixes. And I think, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this song in particular before, but it really is just, it's one of my favorite now wake up songs. I have it on like a mix of just music I really like to wake up to. I love the mood of it. I love the lyrics. It's all about her and her anxiety, but more specifically, it's like her feeling that whenever she's dancing, she's free of her anxiety. And so for me, thematically, I love this idea that we all have things that we deal with. We all have stuff that we wish were maybe different about ourselves, certainly about our thoughts. But you have an activity, I certainly do. I think, honestly, it might be podcasting and entertaining, where like all of those things just turn off and you get to just be you and feel free. And so I love that. And this is why this kicks off my 6 songs for motivation, because it's just a cool reminder that, yeah, like the world may drag you down, but we all have something that we love to do or we feel really free. So I'm obsessed with this song for that reason.
Well, I love this pick, and you have brought this one to my attention before, and it's a great one, right? It's a great song. I love the fast tempo, but I also like the unconventional pick for like a motivation mix like this, right? And I think this kind of falls into that category. But you're right, thematically, I think it fits perfectly because anytime you're working towards a goal, there's going to be that thing, whether it's self-doubt or anxiety or whatever it is that's holding us back. And like she references dancing or whatever that thing is, it's like doing that thing to kind of get past that hump, I think is really important. And so, yeah, I think it's a great pick.
Awesome. Yeah, it really is just all about like showing up and kind of forcing those steps, and then the motivation builds from there. That's like what I've learned a lot over this last couple of years. So for a more traditional pick, one that certainly got me feeling all like amped up and ready to do some physical activities, and we'll talk why. You went with "Proud" by Heather Small.
Yeah, people may not know the title to this one or Heather Small's name, but they probably know this song because it was the theme song for the 2012 London Olympics, as well as the show The Biggest Loser. And we can get into the show maybe another time. It's not without its controversies, right? But
Right.
I think it helped. I think it did help some people along the way. But this song always stood out to me, and just that question, right? Like certainly musically, it's going to get you fired up, right? Like just throw out the lyrics and just listen to the song, listen to the music, and it's going to get you amped up and kind of ready to take that next step. But yeah, just the question at the heart of this: what have you done today to make yourself feel proud, right? Like and I think that's important. Hopefully, if you're working towards a goal in 2022, it's something that you're going to be proud of at the end of it. And so this is kind of that reminder, like what have you done today to get there, to do that goal, whatever that is. So yeah, I love this song, and you're right, a little bit on the nose, but I think it works.
Yeah, I pressed play on this, and to your point, like I had no idea who this track was, and who the artist was, but I was like, this sounds so familiar. And then of course, like you said, the London 2012 Olympics theme song, which is how I knew it. But yeah, I dug into the lyrics and absolutely love them. I really like the second line after that question, which is, "It's never too late to try." And I think that that is something that I certainly have, learned over the last 10 years of my life of trying to build and working to build businesses, and now working on Super Awesome Mix, which is, it's easy to kind of look ahead at all these other people that have seemingly far more success than you, or so much further ahead than you of where you want to be. And you can just like give up in that moment, just be like, you know what, it's a lot of work. And what do I know? I've never done this before. And again, like all that self doubt can appear. But I think it's important to remind yourself, like, it's really never too late. Like, there's literally no script here. Everyone's journey is different. And so I love that for this, I love that in this song, and that reminder, which is, if you want it, like, just go for it. And it doesn't matter how far ahead other people are and how far back you feel. The important thing is that, like, you make those steps every single day. So really love the song thematically, and it certainly motivated me to listen to it.
Yeah, that's a great call, and you're exactly right. Like it's just right. Every day could be day one of something special, but you
Yeah.
got to take that first step. All right, your next pick, you went with Green Light by Lord.
Yes, another unconventional pick. I really tried to be like a little different this time than just doing kind of the hard rock motivation mix that I went with earlier this year. But this one is, it's about a breakup. She's waiting for that green light to do the next thing. That's like thematically what the song is about. But what I love about it is just sonically, whenever she hits that pre-chorus and that chorus, and then she starts yelling, "I'm waiting for it, that green light, I want it." That's how I like. I just love that part. I would run to this song, which is like again an unconventional running song. But whenever that, yeah, whenever she transitions into the pre-chorus and chorus, like you just want to run a little bit faster. You want that green light. You want that feeling of moving and going after what you want. And there's no better feeling, I think, when you're driving and all the lights turn green ahead of you. It's just like this magical moment, I think, that we can all relate to. So that's why this pick is my second one on the motivation mix.
No, great call. Going back to just like what the song is about, the lyric that I kind of called out here is she thinks you love the beach, you're such a damn liar, which I thought was really funny. That
Yes.
when you look at exes and it's like, wait a second, you're not into that. Hold on a minute, like it's runs counter to what you know of that person. I think that's funny. But you're right. Once the music kicks in and the piano and it's just like it starts out slow and then really kicks in, which I thought was great musically. I really like that. And you're right. I love the idea of just kind of chomping at the bit, waiting for the light to turn green and ready to take off. That's kind of what I got from that as it relates to motivation. But you're right. Whether it might be a little slower if you're coming out of one relationship and getting into another, but still, it's always good to kind of get that green light and be able to move on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really love that. I was just reminded of a quick story where actually I did hit a bunch of green lights and I went and I bought a lottery ticket because I felt so lucky. I did not win that lottery ticket.
Oh,
I know. So actually this is not a great story. This is literally just about me me driving to a 7-Eleven one day.
how many
That
green
was
lights was it? Like, what is the threshold to make you feel good enough
I
to
feel
buy a
like
lottery ticket?
it was at least 4 or 5, and they were far
Okay.
enough apart to where I never stopped at any of them when normally one of them would get you. So I think I was
Okay.
like, "Okay, the world is unfolding in front of me. I'm gonna go win some money."
All right. All right. I like this.
Yeah,
I like this. Yeah,
yeah.
I can support that.
All right. Well, let's move on to track 5. Just an all-time great here for getting you moving and wanting to go conquer the world, really. And you have picked Titanium by David Guetta featuring Sia.
So I looked up this one. I mean, people know this song. I think it's pretty popular, but funny story behind this one. David Guetta, like, he's been working with all these huge name artists for years, right? He's just a pretty well-known DJ. People may not know his name because obviously he's not singing the songs himself, but usually the second name on the track you'll normally recognize. So he had Sia come in. Sia's from Australia. She was kind of this underground singer. He had her come in and just record a demo of this song. And the intent was Alicia Keys was going to come in and sing the final version, the one that they published. And then she decides to pass. So then he continues to shop it around, or the record company continues to shop it around to find somebody else to sing this song. And they go to Mary J. Blige, and then they go to Katy Perry, and Katy Perry says she heard it and was like, "Why don't you just use this woman singing? Like, why do you need another singer?" And so they're finally like, "Okay, fine." And this was like Sia's kind of breakout song. So after this is when she was able to kind of take off, and she's had obviously enormous success as a solo artist, and she has enormous stage fright, as it's kind of well known, because you don't really see her face when she's up there, and so whether it was intended or not, I think that's something you want to talk about something that's unbreakable like titanium. I think talent falls in that category, right? Like usually it's like
Yes.
if you're
Yeah.
super talented and you're working hard and working at something, that's usually gonna kind of break through at some point. And so I thought this song thematically, along with the story behind it, was just perfect.
I love that. I did not know that story, so I really enjoy that. It's amazing how some of these things come together, honestly. Like, what are the chances? Because my thought on this song truly is like she has such a distinct voice. I mean, it's very different than so many other singers out there. And her voice works so well against an EDM track. And I feel like it's just one of those things where some voices just work so well against a track like this. And then she went on to go do, just incredible work. So that's a really interesting story. I love hearing the origin of things like that. But I'm glad that Katy Perry was like, "What are you doing? Just use her voice. This is great."
Well, and it was also after Firework had come out, and so there was also some overriding concern about kind of maybe the similarity of the songs a little
Sure.
bit. Which, if you listen
Yeah.
to the two side by side, they're close enough, right? I don't think there's any copyright infringement, but I think there was some overriding concern. But yeah, apparently her comment back was just like, "Yeah, just use the demo. Like, what are you doing?"
Right. It's kind of
Which
like
is great.
a Bug's Life and ants. It's like things seem to come out in pairs, like those early
That's
Pixar.
right. And then there's also Dante's Peak and Volcano in the movie world, right?
Right.
Another one in the
Yes.
movie world. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
All right, track six, your next pick. You went with Suddenly I See by KT Tunstall.
Yeah, I just love this song. I love how it sounds. This puts me in a good mood. I think being in a good happy mood is a really important element to feeling motivated. It's really easy to not feel motivated when you're feeling down. So every time I play this song, it brings a smile to my face and I feel a little bit a little bit better. But what I really love about this song is like it's just kind of like an awakening moment for me. It's just this kind of I think suddenly I see and what she keeps talking about is at least thematically the way I read it is just yeah, like you have an aha moment and all these things like kind of unfold in front of you. So apparently this song was actually inspired by her looking at an image of Patti Smith, and you can kind of see that in the lyrics here, where she says like, "I can see her eyes looking from the page of a magazine. She makes me feel like I could be a tower, a big strong tower." So I love that. I love again, it's like these random inspirations for songwriting. And I think again, it's just kind of like you see something, you see someone maybe you like, someone you want to be, whatever the case may whatever the inspiration is, but you suddenly feel like you can do that too, and you have these feelings inside of you, whatever they may be. So I love that. I think always look for that inspiration around you and for that spark, and that can get you motivated as well.
Yeah, that's great. This one again kind of surprised me because this was a pretty popular pop song, right? And it was
Right.
obviously one I'd heard a million times before, but just kind of digging into it with like obviously from a rhythmic standpoint, it's got a pretty good pace to it, so it's going to get you going. But yeah, just lyrically, I did like it once I kind of dug in a little bit more and really, we talk about it all the time. You've heard this song how many times and never really thought about the lyrics. And same thing with this one. And as it relates to motivation, I was like, yeah, there is that sort of realization. Because sometimes when you're working towards a goal, the impetus for it may have been one thing. And then as you're going along, you start to realize your motivation was actually very different, right? And it doesn't
Right.
necessarily change the goal, but it maybe drives you a little bit more because you find that true motivation. So that's kind of what I thought about when I was really listening to this song. And so yeah, great pick.
Nice. Well, let's move to track 7, your next pick. One that I did not know and really loved. This is my favorite from your 6, and it is Runnin' by David Dallas.
Yeah, I talked about this one recently on our sister show, What Are You Listening To with Jen Tully. And so if you haven't listened to that show, definitely go check that one out. But I heard this one during the Netflix movie Hustle with Adam Sandler, which is a pretty watchable movie, I guess is the way I'd put it. It's not like, wow, this is going to win a ton of awards or anything, but it's definitely one
Yeah.
you can put on and it's a good 100 minutes and it's pretty entertaining. They got real NBA basketball players for all the basketball scenes, so that stuff's pretty good. It's done at a pretty high
Nice.
level. But this is thrown in during a montage, like training scene. And it's just awesome. I'd never heard this song before either. I love montages, and I was like, "Wow, this is a great one!" Like this just got me fired up. And honestly, I've listened to it a ton since then. It's on like the regular workout mix now, and I have not gotten sick of it. It still gets me going. So I'm like, this has got to be. I think I said when I was talking to Jen during that show, I was like, yeah, spoiler alert, this is going on a workout mix, a motivation mix, like whatever in the future. Yeah.
It really belongs here. This is such a strong pick, and like I said, it's my favorite one of yours. And you're right, like it has that. I almost could put it on like, or we could have put it on our walk up mix, our baseball walk up songs. It kind of has that feel of you just want to walk slow motion to a into a room or into a stadium with this playing because it just has that like badass feel to it for sure. that main character energy if you're a Gen Zer. I think I used that right. I never know.
By the way, speaking of the baseball walk-up mix, we've got to do another one of those because it's far and away the most popular show we've ever done.
I mean, within the first 60 days, it has eclipsed every other episode that we've ever recorded. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
I mean, if you don't think
We do
America's
follow up.
pastime is still baseball, okay, think again because we hit upon something there, right?
We really did. People really want to know about walk-up music. They really do. That's why I think we should introduce it into more things in life. I think more things need people walking into music. That's the takeaway.
I agree. I think it would be awesome in business meetings, right? Like if a CEO, right, had walk-in music, I mean, that would just be incredible. Like, hey, should we, because there's also that moment, like, hey, is Stan coming? Should we just start the meeting without him? And like that would be the moment where I'd hit my walk-up music and walk in, and people would be like, oh my God, he's here.
That's awesome. Yeah, the
Yeah.
CEOs of America need more glory and celebration. They do not get enough. I mean, they're barely paid well.
Okay,
They work a lot.
fine. How about the entry-level mail clerk? Whatever.
Yes, that I'd be signed up for. Just
Okay, that you're a man
everyone
of the
showing up to
people.
work.
You're a man
Yeah,
of the people. That's true. That's
I
true.
am. I am. Living
All
in my
right.
Manhattan apartment by the park. I'm a man of the people.
All right. Track 8. You've got "Keep the Car Running" by Arcade Fire.
Okay, yes. So this is, I think, one of the first songs I'd heard from Arcade Fire, and it got me to really like them. Like I haven't loved them until very recently. Like I love their latest album. I'm obsessed with it. But I liked a lot of their music. This was one of those songs. What I love about this one is again thematically, it just has like that mood of wanting to just be, moving and like he keeps singing, keep the car running. Apparently, there's some back and forth about what he intends this song to be about. But a lot of people believe it's like about a person trying to escape some dystopic future, and of course like a lot of their song material is about that, like anti kind of materialism, anti, like expansionism and consumerism and all the isms basically that a lot of people don't like. And so this is like about someone who's basically like, yeah, they know my thoughts. It's kind of like reminiscent of the Thought Police of 1984, written by George Orwell, but they don't know what I'm going to do. And so I think it's like this idea that, yeah, like you may feel targeted, you may feel known, but at the end of the day, like you are you and you can still surprise and you can still go off the tracks. And so keep the car running because I'm gonna like jump in and go change the world. That's kind of like how I interpret it, and so I
Hmm.
really like it. On top of again sonically how it sounds, which is just like a song that makes me want to get moving. And so that's why I picked this on my motivation mix.
Yeah, I like this one. Didn't know this one before, and I like. You're right. Sonically, it's got a good pace to it, so it's gonna keep you going, which I think that's good. Obviously the words keep the car running, right? Like, all right, what are you trying to do? Like, if you're trying to run 3 miles for the first time in your life, right? The key thing is just keep the car running, right? Like, just keep going,
Right.
keep moving those feet. Um, so yeah, you could kind of take it very literally, but you're right. I think you dive into the lyrics here, and there's a lot more there. It's a really well written song. I think the lyric that stood out to me, there's this fear I keep so deep, knew its name since before I could speak. And yeah, I think we all, I mean, kind of like I was saying with Suddenly I See, there's all these things going on inside of us, whether we realize it or not, right? And it sometimes manifests itself most when we're working towards a goal or working towards something that's really difficult. So that line really stood out to me, just because consciously or not, I think we all have those fears or other things holding us back.
Absolutely. And that's a great segue to your next pick here, which is a question song. And it's Who Gonna Stop Me? Who's Going to Stop Me by Jay Z and Kanye West.
You could also just listen to the entire Watch the Throne album and just be motivated
Yes.
by that. So, I mean, if you just want to shortcut this whole thing, just jump into that album. But I think just the one track. There's so many good lines in this one. I mean, okay, first of all, from a motivation standpoint, just hearing them say "Who gonna stop me?" just over and over, like keep repeating
Right.
that to yourself, and you're gonna get motivated. But yeah, Kanye's got one line in here. Heard Yeezy was racist. Well, I guess it's one basis. I only like green faces, which I thought was great. And Jay-Z has one run where he goes, I'm winning again. I'm at the win. I'm at the table. I'm gambling. Lucky lefty. I expect a seven. I went through hell. I'm expecting heaven. And I was like, that's so good. Like
That is, yeah,
those two
such good.
together. Yeah. I mean, just such good writing. And or I don't even know if they write this stuff down or if it's just off the top of their head. Either way, it's great.
I agree. Yeah, this song was literally one that I would run to regularly, and at like that halfway mark where it takes like a hard left turn, all of a sudden you're just like wanna. I remember running in a gym in a treadmill during the summer because it was too hot to run outside, and this is one of those moments where you just like mash the plus button and you just want to speed up and go as
Yes.
fast as you can. Because yeah, it's a really good pick for just feeling motivated, amped up. Their rapping is so good. This whole album is just spectacular. It's made a number of appearances on our mixes for good reason because it's so good.
All right. Track 10, your next pick. You went with And So It Went by The Pretty Reckless featuring Tom Morello.
Yeah, I have been waiting to put this track anywhere on a mix of ours, to be honest. I've almost done it a number of times. Most notably, I was going to put it on Women Who Rock because I love the Pretty Reckless. Like, she's amazing, Taylor Momsen. But I went with another pick of hers where she didn't have a feature on there. You know, I didn't want to take away from her because she's absolutely amazing. But this one, like Tom Morello steals this song just a little bit for me, but that's because I'm such a huge Tom Morello fan. His guitar solo near the end is incredible. But the reason it made my motivation mix is because I love the chorus that she sings, and she sings it so well to where she's just kind of like, almost yelling at saying, she says these lines. They said the world does not belong to you. You are not the king. I am not the fool. They said the world does not belong to you. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to me. And then like in comes, the guitar and the hard rock, and again, it's like so much power because I just love that feeling of wanting to remind yourself and remind me that like, yeah, like the world can be what you want to make it. You just need to keep showing up and going out and doing the things that matter to you and take the power away from people who are trying to take power away from you, right? Like I think it's like a very motivating statement and set to a very, very hard rock song. I couldn't help myself. I had to put hard rock on this on this mix.
Well, the note I had is why didn't this appear on the epic guitar solo mix? And I think you did include
Right.
Tom Morello on there, but man, when he starts in on the guitar solo, I was like, oh my gosh, like
It's
this is
so good on this
incredible.
one.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole song is great, but yeah, that first, just hearing you say you've been trying to get this on a mix, I was like, man, this could have easily gone on a guitar solo mix for sure.
I feel like he could show up on like a Mozart track and just drop a solo and I would be really into it.
Yeah. It'd be like, no, that's my favorite Mozart piece. You know the one with Tom Morello where he just comes in for like 37 seconds? Yeah. Well, the other 16 and a half minutes is fine, but it's that 37 seconds.
Exactly.
That's no, that's great. And I called out those same lyrics. Like I thought it was a really good song. So great pick.
All right. Well, keeping with the theme for these two tracks of women who absolutely rock, we've got a Haim track, and it is "Feel the Thunder."
Yeah, this was a recommendation from our friend Jen Tully. Again, second mention on this podcast. So if you're not listening to her podcast, you really should be. All right.
Yes, it's
So I've
great.
talked about bringing Haim into the regular rotation, and Jen was like, "Well, you've got to listen to this song. It's from the soundtrack to the animated movie The Croods." And I was like, "All right," because that's not one. My kids might have seen that movie, maybe at somebody's house, but it's not one that's in our regular rotation of animated films. So wasn't familiar with it. And it doesn't really sound anything like most of other, Haim's other tracks, but it's great. And it's a really kind of hard rocking song. It has a feel to it of like Welcome to the Jungle, right?
Yeah.
The introduction and then when the guitar like really kicks in. But yeah, I mean, I just think it was just an awesome song, and I've kind of had it in the regular rotation since she introduced me to it because it's just great.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm glad you mentioned Jen because the three of us were talking. We talked about Haim, and we were like, "Oh my god!" Every time we hear Haim, we want to go listen to more of their music because you're just reminded of how much they rock. Like they're a really good group. Like they are amazing. They also just recently inducted Taylor Swift as an honorary fourth sister of the Haim band, which I think
Oh
like what a get.
wow!
That's great.
I guess I guess if you're going to add to the family, I guess there's one place to go. Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, and we were talking before the show about like whenever like kids shows or kids movies just like have an absolute banger of a track.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
talk about the one that you just shared with me, but this is definitely another entrant in that one because like you never would have thought that such a great song would have come from the movie The Croods.
Yeah, Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which
Yeah.
we just watch on Disney Plus. I'm listening to the theme song, and my son loves the cartoon and the theme song, and I'm just like, God, this just sounds really good. And yeah, it's Fallout Boy. It's Patrick Stump. Is that his name? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just funny how like yeah, I mean, it's just stuff just rocks in these animated movies you wouldn't expect, but you'll definitely notice it because you'll kind of look up from your phone. And parents, you all know what I'm talking about, okay? Don't judge me, all right? You're all doing something else on your phone while the animated movie is going, all right? So yeah,
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
all
Gonna
right.
have to do a whole conversation about being present because
All right, let's finish up this motivational mix. You went with "Separate Ways, World Apart" by Journey and Steve Perry, and this is and I'm trying to remember what the mix was on this one, but it's the one from Stranger Things recently, right?
yes. Yes. This is specifically the Stranger Things like remix version of this track. So they have like an extended version that's like 3 or 4 minutes, but this one I think is only a couple of minutes. So you got the right one if that. And yes, I obviously binged Stranger Things season 4, like I think most of the world did when it recently came out. And I absolutely was obsessed with this one scene where they included this track. But funny enough, I went and I listened to the original, and the original honestly sounds like it could have, in another timeline, been like the theme song to Stranger Things because it is so like synth heavy and keyboard heavy, very similar to the Stranger Things theme song, and you can definitely understand like the Duffer Brothers like obsession with the 80s, right? Like this was such a good pick, but what I really love about it, it just makes everything you're doing feel so epic. I feel like if I had this on my headphones and I was cleaning like the bathtub, it would be like world saving that I'm cleaning the bathtub. Like you're just like, oh my god, yeah, put me in a Marvel movie. Like I am saving the world here. It's heavier. It's like angrier. It's more epic feeling than the original. And so I'm always amazed at remixes. And I ended our motivation mix, earlier this year with a remix version of another song, the White Stripe song. And I'm just always amazed when someone can hear a song and be like, I'm gonna tweak it like ever so slightly, basically, and turn it into something completely different. And so I really appreciate that. That's what happened with this track. It is awesome.
Yeah, they did a really good job with this one, and I was pretty familiar with the original. If you want to disappoint yourself or get a good laugh, go ahead and search out the "Separate Ways" music video. One of the most comical music videos of all time. And so they took that, the song, and I immediately think of the music video when I saw this on the list. But yeah, they made it so cool and made it really perfect for, the scenes that they used it for. And even the trailer, like this was part of the trailer leading up to part two.
Yes.
And so it got you fired up for when, season four, part two was about to premiere, just hearing the song. So yeah, I agree. Really well done, and just a great job updating an otherwise kind of dated song.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the trailer made me watch, like 13 straight hours of episodic content of Stranger Things.
Right, right.
It got me really fired up. So well done to this track.
All right. Well, there you have it. Another super awesome mix for your collection. And as promised, the mid year motivation mix. So hopefully, this is the motivation that you need to finish the year strong and hit your goals. But, you never know. In a couple months, we may come up with some other songs to get you fired up and get you through the winter as well. So be ready for that. But there's plenty more mixes for us to get to. You can always follow us on Instagram at Super Awesome Mix, but we'll get to work on our next mix. And for Sammer, this is Matt, and we'll see you next time. Super Awesome Mix is brought to you by DLM. Make shopping easy with DLM, the one-stop shop for all your casual clothing needs. Shop dlmsupplyco.com and enter the promo code AWESOME at checkout to save 15% off your first purchase. That's dlmsupplyco.com.